All right, here we are. So, Microbial Lifestyles and Diversity is a lecture to show you the sorts of things that affect microbial growth. So, what sorts of things are going to control how quickly microbes are going to grow, or are they going to grow? What sorts of things in the environment do that? And really what we're going to see is how specialized microorganisms are. They have to be incredibly specialized because they compete so much for everything. And it's really kind of incredible to see just how specialized they have to be. So we will get to that. And so microbial lifestyles, that's the term I use to describe all the different aspects of how a microorganism makes its living. That's its lifestyle. What does it use as a source of carbon? What temperature does it like? Does it like oxygen? What pH does it like? What's its source of carbon and nitrogen? Things like that. There's lots of different things like that. And that is going to determine where it can grow. And it's going to determine how fast it's going to grow. So before we get into the details of that, I want to kind of think about the higher perspective here, which is that the whole world really has microorganisms everywhere that are waiting to grow. Microorganisms, if we just jump ahead to growth phases, a lot of microorganisms can survive in stationary phase for weeks, maybe even months in some cases. And that's what most microorganisms are doing. They are waiting. So they are the result of a period of exponential growth when their ancestors had a good environment, and then that environment stopped being good for some reason. Maybe they used up all the nutrients, or they made too much of a waste product. So they can't grow anymore. So their population doesn't change for a while. And they wait. And if their population improves again, then if the environment improves again, then their population will start going up again. And that's what we see in nature. You can imagine on the forest floor, if a mouse dies, it's going to rot. And that rot is going to be mostly bacteria growing in it and converting a lot of its tissues into bacterial cells. Well, you're going to end up with a very large population of bacteria growing on the corpse of that mouse, or in the corpse of that mouse, for a week. And then they'll go into dormancy. But before that mouse died, there was a very small population of those bacteria. There were bacteria in its gut, some bacteria on its skin, its mouth, etc. But once it turned into a corpse, the populations explode for a while, and then they run out of nutrients and die off. But some of them are left. And so there are always microorganisms around that can do things like eat a dead mouse. And we can extend that to really everything else microorganisms do. And that gives us this concept, this idea we say a lot, which is that everything is everywhere in the environment to select. So that means every microorganism, every kind of specialized microorganism is scattered all over the world looking for a good environment. They can't go searching. They can't move very fast. They can't move very far. A bacterial cell is not going to move a meter in its life. Under its own power, at least. The question is more like, does it randomly end up in a place where it can grow? And if so, it will. So what happens if the environment is not good enough for growth? Well, we can kind of split this into two different scenarios. Is the environment really dangerous and damaging? Like, is it very hot? Well, the cells are just going to die quickly. But if it's kind of harmless but not good enough, like if they need a set of carbon sources that is not present, or it's dry and they need water, well, they're going to go into stationary phase, and they'll go into this dormancy for as long as they can. And then eventually they'll die out, or if they can stay dormant for longer, they'll stay dormant for longer, really until somehow the environment improves. So we will look at an extreme form of dormancy in the next video. But for now, just think about this and think about what else in the world gets blown around and either grows where it lands or doesn't. Pause the video for a second, but hopefully you thought of plant seeds. They just either find themselves in good soil where they can germinate and grow, or they don't, and then they just don't. And that's really the same thing for microorganisms. Okay, I'll see you at the next video.